What's up? Welcome back. I'm John Stark from MacMovieGuy.com, your favorite blind film critic, and today we're going to talk about Star Trek, the the Starfleet Academy thing. I know you're not enthused. You're like Star Trek, what? As soon as I say Starfleet Academy, I can just hear people go wah wah. So, season one, episode six. I'm still watching the show, which is kind of amazing. The CW presents Star Trek. Um, I don't know what's going on with this show. I really just don't. Sometimes I look at the show and I go, "What are you doing? What are you trying to be? Who are you? What is your identity?" I feel like this is this is the equivalent of being like the gender fluid Star Trek show in that you're just like, I don't know what I am. What's your orientation? I don't know. I have all of them. What's your identity? All of them. We are whatever. Having the sort of, I felt like rather sudden sexual relationship that was happening between those two at the beginning, and the thrusting of the hips that was going on. I always think about things like that, and I'm like, we do this a lot. I feel like this is just like a horny fanboy thing, but not everybody, not all these alien species are gonna have the same body parts that we have. That's logical, I would say. We keep thrusting these very like humanist ideas and structures into it, like Caleb would have the right thing and she would have the right place to put it. But I don't know that that's necessarily true. um, so this leads to a little bit of a war game scenario, which like it sort of instantaneously goes wrong and hilariously so, like where it's just like, is this really happening? Like I totally expected it to be like bullshit, right? And be like, oh well, this is the real test, right? Is that they tell the kids that it's one thing, and then they throw them a curveball and see if they can get out of the curveball. But there's a USS Miyazaki, uh, which must be some Trekkie's way of saying I love Hayao Miyazaki, which I appreciate. So I'm not going to knock you for that. If you named it after Hayao Miyazaki, cool. I, I'm genuine. I think that's cool. I think every once in a while we pull these names out of a hat, and they're obviously an allusion to something, and they're obviously an allusion to somebody who created something, somebody who was a great innovator, somebody who had a lot of imagination to them, and Hayao Miyazaki would be one of them. If you just pulled the name out of a hat, just tell everybody you thought it was cool to name it after Hayao Miyazaki. Anyway, um, so there's a ship that is in the ship graveyard, and they're going to run simulations with it. Something about a singularity, and I don't know. None of this is real. I looked it up because I was like, wait a minute, is this what they were using in that shitty movie that Michelle Yeoh was in that's nominated at the Razzies? And no, it's not. It's not that either. Darn. Um, that should be in a ship graveyard. That movie should be in a graveyard. Uh, so the the kids are mixed together, so it's like war, a little bit of war and a little bit of Starfleet together, and they have to learn how to rely on each other and see if they can, no team has ever scored above 65% or something like that. I was like, that's like a D. That's that's like a D, by the way. And if you've been doing this for a while, that means that like you have never successfully trained or passed on officers. That's like walking into a hospital. That's like also a school for doctors, and you're sitting there and you're in the classroom and you hear the teaching doctor tell a whole bunch of like med students, today we're going to perform this procedure. You've trained for this. You've been working for this. This is a medical school that you've been working towards. However, no student has ever gotten above a 65% on open heart surgery. Well, the future of medicine is fucked, but um, you couldn't have made that number like a little bit more promising. Like the highest score ever was a 93. It's like, okay, so there's room for improvement. I could see Caleb's team coming in here and they're like, my God, sir, a perfect score, 100. So Caleb, Jaden, Sam, some Vulcan, and um, the other guy, the obnoxious one from War Academy, that doesn't get along with Caleb, are all on the same team, and a there's another instructor there that they introduced specifically for this episode, who's like prepping them for this mission that will never happen because they get invaded by the Furies. Um, okay. So, and the Furies are like constantly glitching because apparently they're in constant pain. And there's something about what I kind of liked the concept, but then it felt like it was just like a standard K&R episode where they were like, we have, because there's like a Fury that's like holding Caleb up and is like, give us 50,000 in gold or we may die. I was like, come on, Star Trek. Um, really, 50,000 is money is what you want in all the world of science fiction and power and everything. You have nothing else but desire except for monetary gain. So this prompts a conversation about like despite thousands of years, they're not really sure how to defeat the Furies in battle. Believe it or not, I know this is surprising, but despite the fact that we leapt further into the future, we still have not figured out what to do with the Furies. Despite the fact that we probably have for every other alien species, the Furies seem to have eluded everyone else in their great scientific knowledge. We have a hologram that is now in attendance in classes. Tig Notaro's character leapt through time and space to be here for this show. But they have not figured out what the weakness of a Fury is. And the silly thing is that this is just like a little throwaway thing that they're doing for this episode too, and it's just like the silly profoundness of it all, and they're like, we don't know how to do this because we need a reason to call Paul Giamatti back, and there isn't really a good one, so we're manufacturing one. And Holly Hunter's like, why would we call him? And I was like, yeah, exactly. Why would you call him? The enemy of my enemy is not always your friend. Sometimes it's still your enemy. I know that that's the saying, but I didn't really get like possible we might be able to reach this guy vibes. Like the kind of like, oh, there's a good guy in there somewhere. Maybe he'll understand, or maybe he can be reasoned with. They didn't spend enough time with him in the first episode to make me believe that there was going to be any sort of a meaningful conversation. So of course he comes in and they give him, I don't know, cat piss to drink or something. I don't know. That's what he called it. Um. So he has some sort of like 72-hour pause on any outstanding warrants so he can consult them on how to defeat the Furies, something which he apparently has done, which apparently he has not done, and offers them just his little bit of, reflection, and also gets to like give us some backstory on his character about how he was abused as a child. He's like, my father was a bad man and he got to beat me whenever he wanted. I was like, oh God, we're going real dark, Starfleet. we're diving. You called Paul Giamatti back to talk about abuse. That's I don't know that he's the right character for that conversation, but okay. Um, so yeah, he kind of lays out this like horrible childhood that he had, where his dad just beat him whenever he wanted to, and it's weird too because it's like if you don't understand alien species, you don't understand what is their culture, and so I have no idea what Paul Giamatti's got going on in his life, his alien race and species. But I mean, it's something. Identity is something that they've explored a lot through the Klingons and through Jaden. I can't believe I'm actually having deep conversations about this show. But his identity has been like a huge part of the show. There was that whole debate episode about like how it was important for the Klingons to maintain their identity. And it's like, I don't know, what if their race beats each other? What if that's like a good thing? What if they enjoy it? What if they like pain is their thing? It's a weird conversation to have without context. And that's kind of what they're doing with Giamatti's character, is like he has very little context that's been given. He was like a bad guy that was used in the pilot to kind of like boost the sort of like, oh, look at the pilot, isn't that cool? And now they're bringing him back around. I'm like, I don't know if this was the right episode to bring him back for, because he just kind of comes in. He has some lines with Holly Hunter. Um, has this weird sort of like love hate thing going on with her, where he's kind of flirting with her, but also like hates her at the same time. It's very like 50 Shades. And she ends up being right because he ends up betraying them, but they end up getting their they end up getting the kids back because the girl that was having sex with Caleb, no, I don't remember her name. I don't care. Shanti, I don't know. Shanari, uh, who cares? she's she's able to feel Caleb because they've connected on a deeper level. She When they were having sex, she invaded his brain accidentally and saw Caleb's past with his mother and like past feelings and stuff. So she has some power where she can connect to Caleb. So she speaks to him from the other ship and gives him guidance and direction on how he and the alive cadets can get out of the predicament that they're in and get back to safety, which they do initially. Um, and I didn't understand a whole lot what was going on because he's dating this girl, and she brings him to like a field, and she's like, "This is the field where I was happy. I wanted to bring you here because after I do this, you're not going to want to love me anymore." Like, after you do what? You're saving his life. You think he's after what is so bad that he won't want to love you anymore? Like, what? And then she just kind of screams. Like, she kind of has like a banshee scream, would be the best thing to describe it as. I was expecting her to like turn into some like weird ass monster where she's like, "This isn't my final form. This is." And then he's like, "Oh shit, yeah, you're right. I can't love that. You look like Dormammu from. I can't. I'm sorry, Dormammu, but I don't find you attractive anymore." um, she just kind of screams. So I don't know. Is their future really over with? Are they done? Will they? I think those crazy kids will make up. What do you think? Because it's like the CW, so of course they're gonna lean more in on this like teen flirty romance shit, and than they are actual action and fighting and character. So I'm sure like the next episode they're gonna go like play volleyball or something, or let's go for a swim. Oh my god, is there a beach at Starfleet? There should be. Why isn't there a beach? Let's go to a beach. Maybe they'll go for some coffee. What haven't they done yet? What do kids do on these shows that they haven't done yet? Oh, I don't know. We should pull plot lines. Use an algorithm to find the most common plot lines in shows like Gossip Girl and Dawson's Creek and Charmed and I don't know, all of those shows. Vampire Diaries. What did they do a lot? What did every show have in common? Because they're probably going to do that in Starfleet Academy pretty soon. So I'm sure some of these they're going to have tests and they're going to fret over them, and somebody's going to cheat You know, someone's gonna be like, oh, well, I have to cheat on this. I can't afford to fail. Because there's always that kid, right? There's always that kid who has the pressure from home and like, oh my God, if I fail this, my dad's gonna kill me. And then they learn some important life lesson about cheating. That happens a lot. Oh, we did the drinking one already because Sam learned a lesson in the last episode about drinking. What other lessons do they still need to learn? Sex. Ooh, yeah, they had sex in this episode, and they didn't. There wasn't anything about the unprotected sex. Somebody's gonna have to have a pregnancy scare at some point. You know that's coming. They always have pregnancy scares to get kids to go. What? Even if it's just like that somebody is late, you know, and they're like, oh, thank God, I was just late. I didn't need an abortion. We didn't need to raise the child, but it was scary. This show is dribble. It's absolute dribble. It's like between like this and All's Fair, and some other shows, it's just like, what are we doing? Are we intentionally trying to make dumb television? I believe we are now. I really believe that the shows that they're putting out are intentionally being made for a dumber audience. That like they've done some sort of research, and these shows are testing for a demographic that has dumbed down coming out of, I don't know, COVID or TikTok or something. But these are not intelligent shows. They're actually reductive compared to what we used to watch. And I don't know that the audiences are there. Starfleet's numbers are not that great. The ratings are not compared to when you look at Starfleet's numbers versus, I don't know, Landman. Like Landman does way more business for Paramount. Not that that's the most intelligent show either, but so does Tulsa King. I mean, those two shows outperform Starfleet Academy. So, honestly, Starfleet Academy, its first like 8 days of viewing is lower than what like the live +7 is for Shifting Gears. So, I comparatively, the pilot of Starfleet Academy in its first 8 days, whatever it is, the live +7, uh, is lower rated than what a normal episode of Shifting Gears would be. Life +7. So if you want to think about like where Star Trek is, it's below the Tim Allen sitcom. So, um, yeah, I don't. I'm still riding on the show, but I'll be back next week to talk more about Star Trek, Starfleet Academy, because I can't wait to see what these crazy kids get up to. I know I'm doing this one episode a week, but and I'm a little bit behind, but you don't want to rush things that are this great, right? You just want to make them last forever and ever. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys on the other side.